Something gotta stand on before the night is. No, don't get stressed, just gonna get figured out. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Guess what? I want to see if any of you are up a little earlier. Lately, I've been coming in at 6:31, 6:32. Today, it's 6:29. Anyway, let me give you a quick little look at the disclosure. There's your disclosure. Now let's go back. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Lab.com. This is the 630 Club. Been sitting here in the Short Hills office since the pandemic hit. Started this out, and it's been a pleasure to have all of you guys tuning in. A lot of gratitude out there. I try and put things in perspective. Try and figure out where the flows are going. How do I throw a bone in your doghouse? And just keep safe and just keep moving forward. Anyway, let me say hello to some of my dogs around the world. Let's see if anybody's up. Look at this, a nice clean shaven today. We got P-Train in the house. The early dog catches the trend. Or the early dog digs up the bone. Meanwhile, yesterday I had my best day of the summer out of nowhere. Just because, they say luck happens when opportunity meets preparation. Well, you had a few sets of options on, waiting for a read-through, and boom, BVIO is friggin' tremendous. But anyway, hopefully some of you guys caught it because they did show you my disclosures here and there, and it was on there for 3 weeks. What up, Tulsa? What up, Apple and Tesla in Nova Scotia? There we go. What up, Connecticut? We got It's in the house, as usual. We got Texas in the house. Who else we got? What up, Callahan? I love this song. I'm like a little teeny bopper. Yo, what up, Sam? Sam's from, we got Sam in the house from the Alpha team. All right, so far this morning is pretty quiet. The SPYs are down 11 cents, the Qs are down 48 cents. Markets have been trending. There's been things to do. I know nobody wants to get caught with a leg sweep. Meaning all of a sudden a big down move and all the bears that have been wrong for 9 months are all of a sudden right for a day. We've had a few, little active sequence checks where they throw in the bulls are crouching to play and then the boom, inside pitch just to, make everybody feel a little bit, just a little, what's the word? Little honest as far as too many things going on. So if you look here at the S&P cash, it's been unbelievable. If you use technicals, it's been a really great market. If you remember right here, this gap up on March 28th is when this bull market started actively. And then you've had lots of spots for it to refresh, change a little character, get a little rotation. This was another spot right here. That was a spot that cleared 4,200, couldn't quite go, and then boom. And then pretty much since June 1st, the market's broadened out, but not in lieu of tech. Like they didn't crush tech like every bear said. It just spread out, and you had to be a little bit more selective as we've just been trending, and all of a sudden here we go, 45.32, still above the 8-day, a little extended, so you got to be a little careful. Not so bad to have some hedges on. I've been shorting SPY calls higher. Actually got a little, I got converted on Friday, but pretty much it equaled itself out. So again, above the 821 day, the trend is your friend, right? If you go to the Qs have been leading the way. Remember this downtrend break right here, 229.27, and all the way up to 383. So what now? Well, it's just trending along. We hit a new 2023 high yesterday at 383.50. A little extended. Anytime you get a little extended from the 8-day, you got to be a little careful. As long as we're holding this 378.18, can't get too bearish. This is the gap. The gap is still intact. Another one. Even this gap didn't get filled. So tech has been strong. And you've had different types of setups, right? Apple went to the 3 trillion mark and led the market into July 4th, and then it consolidated, and now Apple looks awesome again. A lot of guys are still in this ever since the pro earnings gap that never got filled, which showed power. And then all of a sudden you hit 194.47, came in. I got back long into this spot. I have some options, and I'm thinking, hey, let's take out 194.47 prior to earnings again, and that would help drive the market. But again, you got to be careful on your pricing and timing. It's down 19 cents, not a big deal. Microsoft almost made a new high, kissed it, and then came in. But again, from where it was, testing 327, look at this little red dog reversal, went below, came back above, was just not ready to take out the highs here. Now all of a sudden you have a little bottom tail, a little work above this 342.50, and all of a sudden next time it tries to take this out, it probably does better, I would think. Tesla, like I've said, has been pretty much my biggest P&L winner of the last quarter. Tesla, it's just been great. I love when Tesla's in play. Tesla, to me, moves awesome when it breaks above levels. It pays you to be right. And, when right here is when Tesla became awesome again, okay, and gave you a really nice move. Even into this reversal right here, you could have gotten out and then got back in when it rebuilt here. And then all of a sudden, again, right there is when it crossed last week for another trade. A lot of guys like Red Dog, you're pretty good with using the movement of the stock to fund a call spread. So right in here, sometimes what's best is when they pull it in a week or two before numbers. If you're looking to take options into the numbers, you'd rather buy weakness and strength. So into this area, I bought the 295s for like $5. And then yesterday, I sold the 310s for $5. So basically this move in the Tesla stock, wound up giving me a free call spread. So now I'll figure out where we are tomorrow, whether I want to just go higher to get a little bit of a lotto spread or say, hey, they gave me the move prior. But either which way, this was great for the stock too. And now we'll see, Tesla's down $1.15, not a big deal. Maybe there's one more push here, prior, but we'll see. So lots of ways the market keeps resetting up. So some were mad that last week, or what day was it? I think it was Thursday or Friday. I put RBLX on the radar, saying I think it's, this type of stock is doing well. And it didn't work that day just because, maybe it wasn't ready. So as far as setup is concerned, there's not a whole lot of setups out there, but I do think this is a pretty good setup here, where it did a little Red Dog reversal at 42 yesterday. So hopefully you bought some stock. I accumulated some 45s and some 48 options. And it does look like at this point it could get above this 45, and then you have 48 pretty fast, and then here's 53. Again, you go to the weekly chart and you'll see that there's a lot of room here. Remember when this was 130 and then broke down here? Now it seems as if this could work towards 50-ish. So I still like this setup. A Unity it feels crazy at times, but also I feel like this has room to 55 to 58. It's trying to clear this 45 and hold this 45 area. So I do think, take options or stock, whatever it is, but just don't get too big if you can't hold it. Ultimately, you go to the daily chart. It's been great. I've talked about this. I never traded this once last year, and then all of a sudden into this area started to trade it again. And it's been a nice trender. You just got to do it well. Same thing happened with AI. Remember AI, all of a sudden AI became the narrative and the trend. Was a stock. People are like, how do you have a go-to list, Red Dog, with 40 names? How do you take 10 out and 10 in? I'm like, well, based on what the narrative is. And this AI has been fantastic. I started with this back in January. It was on my report for this year. Boom. First sequence, second sequence, third sequence, and then another move. And now it's trying to hold. Yesterday I actually did a Red Dog reversal where it went below 37, came back above it. Now it's going to prove to see if it could go again. This AI narrative is not going away, and this has been one of those leading stocks there. NVIDIA gave us another move last week. AMD yesterday, some bought with the Red Dog reversal. This has been a crazy name lately. It gave you a strong move on Friday, which I made good money, and then I got stopped out of the rest. And BBIO was awesome yesterday. Yes, it was. It's great. Listen, this is the only business in the world. There's other businesses out there that are really good, but the only business in the world where all of a sudden you could get really paid, if you're in the right place at the right time and you do it in a calculated fashion. I'm not saying you throw sugar, honey, iced tea against the wall, but, if you know how to quantify your risk, etc., basically this BBIO. So I have this guy on my site. His name is Jose. He's on the Alpha team. He's literally the bio specialist. And he's had like 3 or 4 names in the last year and a half that literally, had huge moves. This one I missed, this MDGL. He had, they were all buying options on my site in the 75s, and they all crushed it. Stock went to 315. He's had like a few of these, and finally, he's like, guys, this BBIO has got a nice chart pattern. They have a readout coming in July or August. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to miss this one. So if you look at the alpha team, yesterday, if you would have came in, I had BBIO $20 calls for July for this Friday. So thank goodness it happened yesterday. And then I also had the August ones. And PS, the July ones, okay, I had a bunch of them, thinking, look at this chart. They cost me like $1.10, and I was selling them from 8 to 14 yesterday. It wasn't even an earnings play. And so what I did is for the August ones, I'd sold 25%. I'm still holding it because he thinks that this thing, the news was that good, and it could really, have a life higher for longer at some point. But again, these type of things do some kind of secondary in order to raise money when they have good news like that, because if they have to, manufacture a drug or distribute it, whatever, chances are they need money. So, but anyway, what I might do is I might create a call spread here, but all of a sudden out of nowhere, after having a great second quarter, boom, I don't like to have bios on. I like to have options because they're either a zero or it's a home run. And Red Dog is not a strikeout. I'm not Reggie Jackson. The Yankees from back in the day. Reggie Jackson, he was the freaking home run king, but he also struck out a lot. I don't like to strike out, and I don't need to hit home runs. I like to be like Derek Jeter. Get on base, singles and doubles, always feeling good, not swinging for the fences. But yesterday all of a sudden we caught one and it went really well, and it happens. Doesn't happen often. You can't base a career on something like that, but it's nice when you get a good shot in the arm. For me, I'm typically just a grinder, so that's why, I trade Apple because it's never a home run, but it has patterns. Tesla, usually a little bit better. Some people are like, what do I think of Google right now? Google has been annoying, to be honest. I made pretty decent money last week in Google. I would say as long as Google holds this 123.49, there's a chance that it can go sideways and rebuild and maybe go again. Remember this Red Dog reversal here at 116? Again, that's a grinding move. From 129 Red Dog reversal sell to a Red Dog reversal buy. Then you had a gap up. Now it needs to go a little sideways. Amazon hit one of my targets. My target was like 134 to 137, went to 136, and now came in a little bit. I'd say as long as it holds this gap, which is 132.71, it could probably go sideways and continue. Remember when it almost broke right here and then boom? Funny how the market does that. But I trade high beta tech, which is you're trading using a tier system and you're massaging and blah 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 blah. Anyway, I don't usually catch big bios like we did the other day. TSM, I haven't looked at that in a while. I'll look at a few. Yeah, it looks good. Taiwan Semiconductor. Right now, China is still considered not a problem spot, but it's been lagging the rest of the world. I do think they're going to be able to come up with some kind of stimulus and it's going to play catch up. So I bought some FXI options for August just in case I'm not trading it. This looks decent. I remember, I guess I was charting it back here. I haven't traded this one in a while, but as long as this holds this area, maybe it can go. Look at this SMCI. Holy cow. Look at that move. I listed it down here, and here's your big gap and go. And, it's a little extended, but there are a lot of good looking stocks out there that have done very well. For those who look for setups and not look for recessions or look for tops, as an active trader, you don't look for recessions. You don't try to be the smartest in the room. You just try and follow your process and plan and think clearly so you can execute with confidence. I'm not really loving much today, anything new. Someone asked me to look at ANET. That's a pretty nice looking tight pattern here. Maybe that can continue. Someone also asked me to look at NET, which I haven't looked at in a while. Yeah, look at that. NET looks like it's about to take out this little spot here. So that looks pretty good. Again, move, consolidation. So if you're in this one, a lot of these names are working. Actually, this looks really good for, I guess last time I had it, I always like to keep prior lines on when I looked at it the last time because it usually means there's some kind of setup. So at this point, this looks like another setup. Let's see what it looks like on the weekly chart, this net. Ooh, look at that. Looky. This looks pretty damn good. Look at that. Nice lower level, above the moving averages. This is when it was too extended and was a sell. This is when it lost the 8-day. Here is your not sure what happened and broke below it at 110. So I think this is something that I'm actually going to take a look at myself and maybe buy some options and get in this. This is net. Okay. A lot of these things have built lower level saucer type patterns of accumulation. And I guess if the small caps and the money wants to rotate, that could be something that that you could look at. But do your own work. I don't own any of it, but I might look at it today. And then some people ask me, what do I think about NEO? Because it's kind of been lagging. You know what? We did catch a decent trade. Remember, I think you can see the 200-day. It was like down here. It had a nice move. Little small red dog reversal yesterday. Has room again. It's definitely lagging. The ones that are acting better is like LI. Look at that move. Remember this gap up, gap. If you trade versus a gap and you don't fill it, there's power, and this has been powerful. XPEV has also been pretty damn good. But cleared this 1131 and now it just pulled back into support. So maybe it tries to come back up. So there's still things happening everywhere. Just a matter of where do you want to live, how do you want to navigate it, how much risk do you want to have, how much time do you want to allocate on July 18th. If you'd rather be on the beach or in the mountains, I hear you. Then don't trade. Or trade less or have some options and give things some space. Anyway, IWM's been acting great. I had a really nice trade in the IWM right around here. They tested the 8-day on Friday and it held. I showed you guys the weekly chart of the IWM. I'm thinking it can get to 196 to 199. If you look here at the weekly chart, looked like, yeah, why not? Just cleared this 189. And now it looks like it's heading into this resistance area. This is, big consolidation area. So, but looks good. Got above this spot right here and held it, and this is a nice area. I made some decent money in early June. I haven't really went back to it. Adobe, Avago, Baba's been pretty good, and the alpha team's been all over Baba. I personally don't like to trade it. I have options here and there. Just it's been such a battleground, but it does act better. Most of my guys were buying it in here, and then they got kind of lucky on the ant news, and then you had to move into this downtrend, held, had to move to 97, and just pulled back and held. So it's acting better. Just make sure you're careful because, again, it's these Chinese names that aren't doing so great. So I don't need to, there's some things I think are not worth it. For me, that's not worth it. Again, I did buy some FXI for August. I bought it down here also. It just held in there. It's probably down a little bit because Hong Kong was down. First time I got to the 200-day, got rejected. So maybe next time it gets through it plays some catch up because, again, it's been weaker. But I do think China's going to come out with some massive stimulus in some particular way. And then all of a sudden, Hong Kong's made up 3.5%, 4%. And the FXI, to me, it's very low premium. So it's just something out there to do. Anyway, I got to jump. It's 6:46. Again, I think that the SPYs are down 7 cents. Qs are down a little bit. Everything's up or down small. It's like a little summer day. Not every day can be a blockbuster. Just try and net money every day. It'll add up. If it adds up, you'll get your paycheck. You get your paycheck. You feel good. If you feel like you're not doing as well as you should, look at your process. Are you getting enough rest? Are you getting focused enough? Are you following your plan? Are you holding things long enough? Are you honoring your stops? All things that you have to ask yourself on a daily basis in your journal to create your trading voice. So this way, when things start to move, you're not frozen. You could execute in the motion and in the, they call it Trading in the Zone. That's a good book. If you're mentally not having a great year, because maybe you've been listening to Mike Wilson too much or all the bears too much and you didn't follow your rules, well, Trading in the Zone by, I think, Douglas is a great book to mentally try and get yourself back on track. It's not really an X's and O's. There's so many books out there, but that's one mentally, because trading is probably 70% mental, 30% preparation. Maybe that's not the exact percentages. I just thought of it out of my head, but it's something like that. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the well wishes for my mom. We had a great time this weekend. She had a what's it called, walker race with her brother. They're both in their 70s, and they're in such good spirits that they literally had a video race of them racing each other with their walkers. We're all getting old. But getting old is a privilege. Okay, not everyone gets there. So enjoy your life, because when your number's called, you never know. I'll talk to you guys a little bit later and post some charts.